nuance, the Somalian.
All the writers out there, I mean, there's so many people that write and write and write. What do you think actually makes a good book?
I think what makes a good book is characters. A good plot, but your characters carry your story. And one of the things that you can do with your characters, you give them twists, you give them character traits. And people that, what you should do is observe people and find a quaint trait that is applicable to them, that's kind of a nuance, that kind of is different and strange. Those are gold mines to really put characterization into. In this latest book, I have a friend who I know real well, and I put some of her characteristics into the female character, and it really, really played well. So look for characteristics that are different, and make sure your characters aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect, so if you have a character that is perfect, nobody's going to believe it. And nobody's Superman either. People have faults, they have failings. Gosh, I'm a sinner, I blow it half the time anyway. So God knows that, and He forgives us, and still He allows us to be successful. So I think character traits are really important.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have any tips that you would like to share with a writer that's a newbie, a beginner, has never really written anything?
I think so. I think what you ought to do is take a look at your manuscript that you're thinking of and write it down. Write it down on 1 or 2 pages. Then do a chapter by chapter outline. And if you don't know what it is, just start writing. But those chapter outlines are very important to keep you on track. The other thing that I would suggest is twists. I have characters in here that change from being good characters to bad characters where no one would have anticipated that. I also take my characters and I paint them into a situation that they can't get out of, that I don't know how to get out of. So I take a character like buying, and I put him surrounded by these hoons, 20 hoons, and the hoon is a gorilla with the brain implant of a criminal. So these are hardened, tough beings that'll crush him easily. Now how do you get out of that? Well, I don't know. So what I do is I paint that picture, and then what I do is just pray and ask the Lord, how do I get this character out? Because if the Lord doesn't give me the answer, and I know the answer, it can't be too good. So twists, turns, joining critique groups is extremely important. Investing in your craft, going to conferences, taking courses. Jerry Jenkins has an online writing course. Getting with other writers. Writers are your best friends.
Now, are you the type of writer that gets up in the morning, starts writing, writes for 5 hours? What's your schedule?
Well, I have a job, so I can't write for 5 hours. However, I do get up early in the morning. First thing I do is I read my Bible, then I pray, and then I just sit before the Lord and just quietly wait on Him. Listen to the thoughts that the Lord's giving me. And He's giving me some excellent scenes, and then I'll go and write, and usually for an hour and a half. I had been convicted because Stephen King writes for 5 hours, Ernest Hemingway wrote for 5 hours. That seems to be like the average that you're supposed to write. Well, I can't do that. So I read a book by Walter Mosley, and Walter Mosley is a great writer. He said he only writes 3 hours a day. And if he can't do that, the least that he'll write is an hour and a half. So what I try to do is write for at least an hour and a half each day.
An hour and